Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Jump Street Podcast, episode number 153. I had to check that one before I said it. I wasn't ready for it. But we have a very special guest and a homie on tonight that we love having on the show, and you all love him too. What's going on, Billy? How's it going?
Not much. Everyone, welcome to episode 153. Super stoked. This is our first podcast of the new year with a guest, and it's cool that we have Sean Kelso to kick this off, especially with everything that he's been doing in all of 2023 and his last thing that he put out, Reflect, 2 weeks ago. That was absolutely incredible. We're going to get into all of that, but before we do, I'm going to give you a very short spiel today. Please follow us on all of our social media accounts. We have a Facebook, we have a YouTube. You can subscribe. You can hit the notification bell. We have an iTunes. If you like what you're hearing, please give us a 5-star review and rating. We also have a Patreon. We have a bunch of new stuff coming out on Patreon. And if you are a Patreon for as little as $3 a month, you are automatically entered into our free drawing every month. You could win something from our online store, whether that be a 5-panel hat, it could be a hoodie, it could be a T-shirt, it could be a mug. So that is my spiel for this week. If you like what you're hearing, please support us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we've been blowing up the Patreon the last couple weeks also. So sorry, not sorry for all the notifications that you're probably getting, but we still have more coming too. We've been filming some more stuff. We have more content up there. There's going to be a shout out for our new Patreon supporters this week. We have these names: Zuhair C., Ian McGlynn, and Matt Bednarik. Thank you all so much for supporting us on Patreon. We have a WTF this week, as usual, from Patreon supporter Chad Vignel. And this person did not have a name on their Instagram account, so we'll call them @Roller with what me and Sean thought was like a Medspin wall ride. Would you consider this a Medspin wall ride, Billy? Even though it's not a Medspin 2 wall ride, it's just like a Medspin wall ride.
No, it's definitely like some version of Medspin, like a vertical Medspin 360, but also a backflip. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you think that is. Medspin.
Because he's doing a Medspin on a wall, but it's not a Medspin 2 wall ride. It's like a Medspin wall ride.
It's awesome. I don't know.
It is super sick. I've never seen anybody do that before. So huge shout out. Thank you so much for, hang on really quick. 1 second. We have I can't not mention whoever sent us this. And it was Flippin' Skates on Instagram. Thank you so much, Flippin' Skates. If anybody else has any WTFs that they want to send our way, please let us know because we can't see everything on the World Wide Web. And before we get in with our guests, we have a sponsor for this week's episode. Thank you to Create Originals for sponsoring this episode with the new, coincidentally, Sean Kelso Pro frame that's out right now, the Reflect Yo. He also came out with the super cool edit, some are calling Edit of the Year for 2023. Really cool reflective logo with a new shiny reflective hardware to match. Check it out in the Create Originals store. And we're going to get into all this stuff later as well. But also check it out on the Create Originals website. The Crispy Asic wooden laser engraved frames is a limited run with artist Crispy Asic, who did a lot of the artwork for Create Originals from the beginning days and still to this day. So super cool limited run of 25. I think they have a few left still on the website. If you're interested, it comes in this really cool wooden box also. So check that out. And also, Create Originals was, we're fortunate enough for Create Originals to team up with us for a giveaway for this episode. We're going to get into those details later. I'm super excited about it. It's a cool little different thing that we have going on for this giveaway, this contest, whatever that we're throwing. So we'll get into those details later on. Anybody can enter, and I'm super excited about it. But thank you to Create Originals for sponsoring this episode. Everybody, check them out and check out Sean's new Create Original Reflect Yo frame.
Very cool. So yeah, that should be everything. Should we get straight into it with our guest?
Yeah, I feel like that was quicker than normal, but that's the way things are going these days. It's 2024. It's 2024. We're on it. It's a new day, new era. But yeah, let's bring in our new guest. Everybody, not new guest, but our guest for today, Sean Kelso. Everybody, welcome it in.
What's up, buddy?
Sean requested a special intro song.
Oh, nice. I was wondering what was happening. I was like, what's going on?
What's up, Sean?
How you guys doing? What's up?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can't complain besides this kind of crappy wintry weather that we've all been dealing with over here. But,
Mm.
you know, same old, good. Family's happy and healthy, so can't complain.
I was about to say, not
That's
all
what's
of us.
up.
Billy's lucky escaping the cold in Long Beach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel you, Sean. I feel you.
yeah, I know you do. But Saturday's gonna be nice, so we should link up.
Yes,
Okay,
if it says windy out, we'll see how windy
I
it is.
saw that.
It's been windy the last few days. I don't skating in the wind is not fun. Do you like skating in the wind? It's not something we come
I
across too
hate
often.
I hate the wind more than like brick cold. Wind
Yeah,
is absolutely like a turn off, but if we're just going to a park to do some chill shit, then no complaints.
yeah. Let's hope for the best for this weekend because I would like to link up too and get some skating in since it's going to be randomly warm out this weekend. But anyway, thank you for coming on the show again. You're a veteran of Jump Street podcast by now, but we love having you on, and is good cause because even our Patreon, when I posted that you were going to be on the other day, the comments blew up on Patreon even too. So people love having you on. So that's why we're having you on again.
Well, thank you to all those Patreons. Shit.
Yeah, I got to go through a lot of these to get a couple questions later on, but we'll worry about that later.
Cool.
Well, first and foremost, before we get into all the questions that we're going to get into, I got to ask a personal question. So, on your the picture that you sent for your portrait for the Jump Street promo that we used today, and your shirt today, one is a OG FR shirt, the other one is like one of the most OG Senate Halo shirts. I remember when I saw the Senate Halo shirt when I was a young kid, like when I first started skating, like this is like 96, 97. I don't know. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I wanted one. Anyone who had one looked so cool, and it just like was part of the style back then. Are these original shirts or these remakes?
These are all original and they're both recent purchases. Anyone who knows me knows I'm pretty like well involved in the vintage world with just finding obscure, whether it's like old Chase NASCAR tees that I kind of rock all the time. But I've always collected anything vintage rollerblade oriented, whether it was like skates or clothes. So I've been lucky enough to find friends that I've met on like Instagram or just random sellers that have access to this. I mean, this is like a mint condition
I'm in
FR
shock about
case.
how the condition is the shocking part. It's
Yeah.
in such good condition.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's funny.
So
I sent you my picture of my Peace Love FR shirt.
yeah, yeah.
That looks
It
not.
was
You
like
almost can't even
torn.
see the logo anymore. That's how worn it is. So it almost like Billy is right by asking that question. Are these remakes? Because that looks legit. You know.
So legit. I again, they've come from someone's personal collection. So I'm just lucky enough to have met these people when they were offering them. I guess I got in at the right time because that Halo shirt was a crazy find as well. I've been searching for that because Billy, I had that shirt when I was a kid. I was like,
Yeah.
how can I get this stuff again? So I have like homies in Philly who collect stuff too. Josh Weaver, some people know him as Pick and Recycle. He's a gem in finding good blade stuff as well. So give him a follow. Good homie. He actually got me that Senate Halo hoodie.
Wow.
So I'm
The
waiting to meet
hoodie?
up with him. And he got me the hoodie.
Wow. I remember like the old like one like it was like they had a green one I think and like a brown one. They had
Green
a
one's like
black one.
Arlo wore the green one. I think he made that one like famous in like
Yeah.
the early days too. That's what I pictured too. The green one. When you said that, it instantly clicked in my head. Is there anything on your like vintage skate collection bucket list that you are on the hunt for? Like when you have this, you're like, yes, I can't wait. I can't believe I got this.
So same item. I recently just met this lad from Wales. Huge collector. His Instagram page is crazy with like the amount of memorabilia that he collects. His name's Anthony, and he had like a mint condition size XL Halo hoodie with the old E script on the back. I had that as a kid, and I just sent him a package today, like filled to the brim with all types of basement stuff. And in return, he is gifting me that hoodie, so it will be on its
Oh,
way. So
damn.
I'll have two Halo hoodies.
I was about to say. Is
Crazy.
that the one? The picture you sent me a picture of that one, right? I think you sent me a picture of one of them.
Yeah.
You have two Halo hoodies. I always, not always,
Yeah.
but
I don't have them in my possession yet, though.
yeah, no, but it's
I,
still gonna be.
I was actually about to say that it's finding like vintage stuff on its own must be like its own mission, you know, trying to find like OG stuff. But in the blading world, it's like really fascinating to me because where do you look? Do you look on like traditional like vintage pages? Because I feel like that is like more obscure than that, and like the blade shirt vintage market, you know?
Absolutely. And sometimes like sellers don't know what they have. So if you like are just on like Depop or Grailed or even eBay and you're, I don't want to give away the secrets, but it's not too much of a secret. You type in like vintage rollerblade. I mean, you can kind of explore what's out there. But like I said, like this came from like a true skater. But sometimes you'll just get lucky, someone not knowing what it is. Like I got the Ill Will, the rip off of Goodwill long sleeve from some seller, and I threw in an offer for like $40, and he was like, "Accept." I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that."
Insane. Cool. Man, one day we got to try Austin to like go to like Arlo's like an on-site like Jump Street like wardrobe collection. I bet you like Arlo has a ton of like sick stuff. Like I wonder the blader with like the most vintage stuff. I'm sure Sean's getting up there, but I wonder like if the OGs kept anything, you know?
That's a good question to ask these people. I know
scented pants, like, you know, things like that.
Tracy White has the Blade Museum. He has a lot of that stuff also. Even at Bitter Cold Modern Skate Park, they have a bunch of vintage stuff. Remember like the showcases at the lobby when you walked in? That was pretty cool. Not so much like clothes and stuff, I guess, but they had a lot of like crispy CDS Detroit grind plates in display, like fresh like tarmacs in the display case. So people have these things too. It's kind of cool seeing them. I always wanted recently I've been wanting like the original Be Unique shirt, like the regular B with the two lines on it, like the original blue and white one, I think it was. I wish I kept them, like just that shirt anyway, but that's like the only vintage thing that I've been looking out for. I always wanted the Halo shirt too, though. That's awesome that you got those.
I still have a rack of all that old Be Unique stuff at my parents' house. Yeah, I have some still in packaging.
Yo, can I get one? Do you have any other do you have any of the regular B shirts?
Yeah, definitely.
I have to go because we have to pay Mr. and Mrs. Kelso a visit too.
Go mess up the basement with some slider bar setups.
Yeah, I love that. Eat all their pickles out of the fridge.
That too.
Austin keeps his dog tag in his wallet. He still has the.
I think I took it out of the wallet.
It's
somewhere. It was in my wallet though.
Couple years back, he kept it in his wallet.
Well, somebody at Woodward at the What Year Is It, I think, was just like, hey, check this out. And he pulled out like one of the dog tags. I don't know. I didn't ask him where he got it from, but he just had one of the dog tags. Like, oh, that's sick. I didn't keep mine. I wish I don't know what I did with it. And he's like, here, you could have this one. I'm like, really? And I didn't know, like, we were just at the skate park. So I put it in my wallet and it just never left my wallet. And then like a couple months ago, I actually took it out and put it somewhere. But yeah. Do you still have the dog tags?
You should put it on.
I don't have a chain.
I don't think so. Probably not. I still have some like rare old like skates that USD made for me. Like they made me this one of one glow in the dark skate. Yeah, I posted them before like on my Instagram, and I think I got like an offer for $1,000. And I was like, maybe I'll entertain this idea, but it's like one of one. Like put it in the pitch black, and it lights up. It's pretty crazy.
That's like 10 grand right there. You got to hold on to that, man. That's a collector's item.
True.
Didn't
I'll take offers if you're listening.
Yeah, that was the blue
Start
and
at 10 G's.
That was like wait, was it even the blue and black ones with the glow in the dark cuff, or was it just straight up a one off with the glow in the dark cuff?
Straight up one off, glow in the dark boot, glow in the dark cuff, all white bottom.
Glow in the dark boot. I remember the cuff being glow in the dark, so it was glow in the dark boot. Oh,
have you got any clips on them?
Never skated them.
And that would be. I wonder what that would look like in. Like if you could like maximize the glow in the darkness of it, like in darken the room and get some clips like really deep in with the. I wonder what that would look like.
That'd be sick with like
an all night part.
Yeah, something like that.
You know how you have your the reflective frames? I've been wanting a reflective skate like that, like 3M shiny material, but to make a boot or like some sort of even if it was like a cuff, like a major part of the skate that was reflective, I think that'd be so sick.
True. I wonder if they can do that. I mean, they did glow in the dark, so
You could probably like wrap it with like 3M tape or something. I have 3M tape, the reflective tape, but it would be a lot to wrap the whole thing. I'm sure you would need some sort of vinyl or something like that. But I'd always thought that would be a cool idea. Super random. Maybe it could be a limited edition or something, but I'm into the reflective stuff.
thinking back to it too, I remember Matthias, like when we were producing that skate, his first concern that it was unfriendly to the environment. And that's something that I didn't know. I was just like, I want that shit to glow. Like
Is glow in the dark like not eco-friendly, I guess?
I don't know. Maybe it's like treated with some sort of chemical or something.
That's true. Has to be. I mean, it's obviously chemicals.
Yeah.
Small price to pay to swag out on them, though.
For real.
Right.
This shit-
They're just in my parents' basement, like kryptonite, just like causing problems.
like killing all of the wildlife in like a 5-mile radius.
No, it's doing the opposite. That's why Mr. Godzilla is living so long.
Yo, good point. For those who don't know, Mr. Godzilla is a childhood pet. He is a fire belly newt, and I think he's 34 now. Like, our parents got us these two newts. I didn't even have a memory yet, I don't think. And the dude's still living, just trapped in a cage, like this much water.
It says they can live up to 30 years. So Mr.
You beat
Godzilla
that.
has good genes.
He does.
Hopefully that runs
Or
in the
the
Kelso
wrong-
family, because then we'll be getting basement edits for the next like 70 years.
Yeah, you guys had like a really busy year again. Like you and your brother and you, and right before the year ended, you guys put out 2 parts simultaneously. Got a lot of attention, got a lot of feedback, and it came out incredible. I gotta say, man, that was like some of the tricks. Like it amazes me how it keeps on progressing and getting better and better. But what was the process for that like, and the thought process behind everything?
Well, thinking back to the beginning of 2023, we started out with Zephyr. We basically tried to make like a them collaborative video, and I made it interactive with the theme of Mega Man 2. So we tried to include as many of them skaters around it, like even though it was like little snippets, like PNGs, like flying around, kind of wanted to make it look like the video game when you choose the actual character. But the process of that was just like, it's cold, it's winter. What's the easiest thing to skate? It was park. So we started the year out there. When spring arrived, we jumped into the base them project. We both had like burner skates, we called them. So we were both like filming IG content while we were secretly skating the pinks and filming base them. We thought we were going to have all year for that project. And then John hit us up with like a 2-week deadline. We're like, oh, okay. So I remember when we hit that, we just went wild. I think we skated every single day for 2 weeks straight, just trying to collect as much as we possibly could. So kudos to Colin, because I think he works well under pressure. And kudos to myself, because I guess I do also. But that
Yeah.
it was a weird launch because we weren't ready with the gear. That came out way later. It actually came out pretty recently. But that was obviously the first street thing we did this year, and it came out really early. So we had a ton of time to create something, which eventually became my reflect part and Colin's solo part. That spanned at the period from the end of summertime right to like the 15th of December or something like that. And we didn't know what we were doing, so there wasn't like a process or a thought behind it. We toyed around with the idea of making a together video. I'm happy that it ended up being my reflect part promoting the create frame, which I love the way it came out, and Colin just had his part all to himself. Just here's Colin and some them skates just ripping. So we were like, we'll launch them the same day, the same time, and just, bat them both.
So sick.
Yeah.
I think it's such a sick way to
So,
do. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we didn't even like plan for it to come out like at the end of the year. I guess like sometimes with all like the SOTY stuff and all the awards, like people think that you're just trying to go for that. But realistically, it's like it's winter and it was already getting slow. We were dealing with constant rain, high winds. So it was just like time to wrap the project up. And I think that's when we were like, it's time to just put this together, get it out. And it came out awesome. So I'm happy.
I was about to say, whether consciously or not, that's a really sick way to do it. Start off the year strong with the big edit, and then end the year strong with the big edit. That's like that's consciously or not. That's like a really good model and like a really cool way to do things. And yet, like, yeah, everything's incredible. Just like the amount of content consistently that Basement's been able to put out over the years is just really awesome. Like, I'll go to Bellino's sometimes before we skate and we'll just like watch like a bunch of Basement stuff because it's all there. So much is like new coming out and it's always worth a rewatch. The rewatch value is really high. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just incredible. I got to give it up to you for that. What's the what's the process of like staying so consistent? Is it just like you and Colin like staying on top of one another, having like the access to it, and like also the spots? Like, I'm still so amazed that you can come up with all these new spots in Philly after like 25 years of skating
Yeah.
spots in Philly and they look like old spots. So I'm like, wow, that looks like an old spot, but I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. So with the access of these people who just have like spot pages on Instagram, there's some really good access to finding different spots in the tri-state area. Like, for instance, that rail I did like the sweaty 3 true KG on.
Yeah.
I found that on an Instagram page and it was way up in North New Jersey, probably even more north than Manhattan.
Wow.
But we were just like, all right, we're going to take our chances and venture into this area and follow this guy's spot guidelines because he kind of, gives you the list right there, addresses and everything. And he was super responsive if I had any directional questions. So it's things like that. I mean, obviously we revisit the old spots like Penn and Drexel that are just constantly rebuilding stuff. And then you'll see something that's old and maybe unique that hasn't caught your eye in the past because maybe it wasn't something that, you were thirsty for back then. But with new eyes and new light, you see it in a different way and things happen. So, yeah, go ahead.
Because I noticed in your Reflectio edit that you did, I'm not 100% confident with Philly spots, especially the schools. You mentioned Penn and Drexel. When you did on the little curved black rail, the topsoul 360 topsoul, is that the same school you did on the kink rail topsoul 3 topsoul, or is that a different school?
So that was, there's a funny story about that. I forget it. Colin would remember it, but someone brought that up to him the Drexel day. To answer your question, the one from Opinions down the kink rail was Drexel. The curve rail's Penn. They're catty corner schools to one another.
That's why I always get them confused because they're like, every time I go there, like you could like kind of skate from one to the other. And I was like, I mean, you could finish your story too. I just wanted to say like the reason I said that was because it was kind of like what Billy said in the first place, like revisiting old spots. But that was, in my eyes, I thought was like a new take on doing an old legendary trick at the same spot pretty much, but in a different way,
Yeah. Those little slider bars that are planted all over Penn, like if you revisit old videos, probably where dudes were rocking this shirt, like in Hoax, like they were skating those rails and they've stood the test of time and they're still there. And you can find curvy ones like that one, amongst ones that go out over sets that we've never even skated because at the time it was like, that's too small or something like that. But really funky, weird rails, which everybody likes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool to see, like, that's another thing, like, other than the new spots and obviously, like, all the reconnaissance work that you guys do to find those spots and go to those spots. And it was really cool seeing, like, spots in your new part in Staten Island. I love seeing like all that stuff
True.
too. But I really like seeing that revisiting of the old spots that both you and your brother do so successfully. Um, I believe it's yeah, I believe it's that you like the stuff at Penn that you were doing, and your brother was, I think it's Drexel or Penn. It might be Penn, where he does like Royale to slide the floor to Royale back on the ledge, and just like
Classic spot.
that's such like a classic spot, and to like see like these new takes on them, like after like again like 20-25 years of you guys skating them, like, and then being skated for like that long or longer is just like really awesome to see.
Yeah, and oddly enough, since we were young, and probably because like the skate scene was gigantic, security used to be really tough to deal with. Like nowadays, you're showing up like a mid-30-year-old man pushing 40, and security doesn't seem to give a crap about anything that we're doing over there. So it's like more accessible in that way as well. So
Yeah, that place used to be
gotta revisit.
it used to be a huge bust. I'm surprised
Yeah.
that it changed like that. I wonder if that's because of like a lax on the rules, or because like genuinely you're presenting as like an adult, and maybe that just commands more respect when like the security guard's like your age or around the same age
Yeah.
as you. I don't know.
Also, not rolling like
Either-
30 deep like you were back in the day too. Probably it's
That's
not as
true.
big of a scene.
Yeah.
We do have a smaller group.
Yeah, that probably helps with
we're-
everything.
We're still skating the hood too. We're still rubricking spots. We had a new addition to the Philly crew, Ryan Parker. So it's been nice to not only have another extremely tech blader to motivate me, but he loves building spots and he's damn good at it. So yeah,
I was actually wondering about that because I saw him like in a lot of Philly clips, and I didn't know if he had moved there or not. But he's officially moved over there.
Yeah, he started toying with the idea back in the spring. Him and his girlfriend were visiting and just kind of just shopping around for apartments. And I think it was either like midsummer or end summer they did their full move. And yeah, he's a Philly boy. He's a Philly native.
I didn't even know that he's a Philly native too. Wow, that's crazy. That's a
Well,
really cool addition to the crew.
he's not actually a Philly native, but now he is.
Now he is. He's local.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
up. That's a really cool addition, man. His like skating is, I think,
It fits right in.
like obviously very his own, but it fits really well in with you guys as well. Like just like his approach.
Yeah, I think we have this like untalked about battle on Payne's Rail at this point. Because like he'll go there and film himself and do all this like messed up shit. And I'll be like, "Arr,
Sick.
arr."
You're like, yeah, that's my that's my spot.
I'm about to go there dolo and set the tripod up.
That's dope. That's dope.
Honestly, that I was doing that so much. I think like Spacement 2 times, like after work, obviously when it's beautiful out, I was hopping on my bike and just riding down there and like skating that spot almost every day. And there was like a blast of consistency that happened within my skating when I was doing that nonstop. Obviously, the warmer weather makes that happen. So, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Payne's is a good place for that too. It's like a training ground
For
in
sure.
every aspect. It has like the beginner stuff. It has the intermediate stuff. It has like actual rails and ledges there. You guys are lucky to have that. And I was even when I think it was after the Invitational when I think Vitzman went also to Philly, and it was like there was like a picture of you, Michael Vitzman, Ryan Parker, and I was like, this is like the ultimate crew right there, because the way you guys all skate together, you guys are all different, but very similar in the way you skate. And the style was like, it looked like it was meant to be that you all connected for that like one session or 2 sessions, whatever it was.
Yeah, that was a cool time. He came out with Air Manatee for I guess a time in the winter prior to after the Invitational as well. It was cold as shit, but yeah, I remember skating. I think I made a little piece for Michael at Payne's Rail during that time. And then he came out and he stayed with Parker while Parker was living here, or obviously is living here. And I think they were working on something specific for their sponsor. I don't think I've seen the footage though.
Yeah, me neither.
Dude, I think that's the missing link of the crew. Colin, Sean, Ryan Parker, Air Manatee. That's the next. That's the next basement piece. Man. Just flip the
Dude,
script on him. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That'll just be the. Just hit him with a curveball, surprise him.
His
yeah.
That'd
stair
be dope.
ride was epic. Every time I talk
Right.
to Michael, he like brings that up somehow, and
I
it's like he dies laughing telling that story. I
I
don't know. We
felt so bad for the man because like if you go to the art museum, it's always crowded with so many tourists. And like here comes this giant man in like 30-degree weather, shirt open, like looking like he's known what he's doing, which no disrespect, yeah, no disrespect, dude. Like you do know
Yeah,
what you're doing, but
yeah.
comes flying down
But
forward and
extra
just
confident
crashes
though.
on.
yeah.
Dude, he did it twice too. It was like the worst fall I've ever seen twice.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Damn,
Great
Airman,
guy.
we love
Yeah.
you. That fall is
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah.
But he's been posting a lot of like regular skate stuff too recently, which is cool to see. He's back on his shit now. It looks
I
like.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So I thought it would be cool to touch on this. We were talking about it before the podcast, but as someone who obviously like a big part of your eye in skating, not only is, as we touched on for a minute, touches into fashion, but also touches with like the videography that you've been like has been intertwined with your skating and your vision for years. We were talking about like some of the work and release, some of the new things that have come out in 2023. And we touched on, I just saw Brain God for the first time yesterday. I saw like a piece of it a week ago, but I didn't get to finish yet. I had to come back home. So I saw like half of it, but I sat down yesterday in my living room, watched it from top to bottom. And I was really impressed with the attention to detail, like the work and like the just like yeah, just everything that Drew put into it. You can see that he put a lot of work into it. I was wondering if like you could share your thoughts with that, and we can kind of like touch on that for a little bit.
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm always on here giving Drew some props. So here it goes again. Um, the way he has like a superpower of capturing the presence of like the skaters or the subjects in his films. And I think that the way he put this one together was like truly a masterpiece. And I think that arguably some people might complain about like the skating or the tricks. Maybe it's not on a level of expectations that they, might want to receive. But again, back to how he captures it, the soundscape of that film. I watched it in the dark, headphones on the first time I watched it, put the phone away. And I feel like that's like really how you have to watch that film. Is paying attention to it in every detail. You can judge the skating the way you want to judge the skating, but uh, truly wonderful work, masterpiece of a skate video, capturing personalities, the music, the sound. I mean, I could go on and on about Drew and his ability to make people just look cool. Um, I think about it looking back into skate videos that made me want to skate. And I wasn't necessarily like judging the skating. And when I was watching like VG4, like I liked it. It looked cool. These were the guys that I wanted to look like.
Right.
And I think that he creates that feeling. He brings out that emotion. He makes me love skating when I watch this film. And I'm proud of him because I know he's just a dude like me and my brother. You got busy lives, and you're putting your effort, your time, and energy into creating something that's special. I mean, no one can touch that one, in my opinion. I mean, again, skating's up for debate amongst people, but that project's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, again, like you can tell like the amount of detail and to each clip and thought that went into each clip and how it all played into the video. And he definitely created a feeling and an emotion there. And as a New Yorker, like seeing like how he utilized some of like the looks of New York in the video, like he had a shot along the bridge where it had like the
I lost Billy.
Yeah, me too. Billy, we lost you somehow.
I think I
There we
touched
go.
my mic,
Okay, there we go.
and it's
It was
very
only for
sensitive
like
and
it
goes
was only
mute.
for a few seconds, but yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the way he as a New Yorker, like that those shots in New York that he was getting with the skate, and I kind of highlight like the shots a lot more. Like a lot of those spots, I remember seeing a lot of those spots. Like a lot of those spots, like obviously we saw growing up, and some of them were like well-known skate spots, and others were, oh, like this is just a good-looking spot or a place to hang out, but hard to figure out a way to get a clip there. But they were making clips happen at spots that weren't traditionally like skate-looking spots. So I think it really like highlighted the city, New York City, a lot really well too. And I think the way he introduces it like highlights the personality of the skater really well.
Hmm.
Like the subject, it's like you feel like you could know the person without knowing them, or and it's just a very interesting video, and I think he did a really really good job.
See, and that's the thing too, because and I, mind you, I love all the skating in the film. Um, but he he can create like what you're talking about, these spots that might not be a spot. The way he films it, the way the guy is doing the trick, there's just something there's something going on that's like deeper than like a simple topsoul. Um, he is just a master at making his people look fucking fantastic. It's truly a cool piece. I got a preview of the tape video too from Tony Cheetah. He let me watch it once and then he deleted the link. But no comparison in the two videos because they're so completely different. But I think Tony captures that idea as well, where it might not be like, even though half the skating is like super progressive, super weird. He also does just a great job of capturing like a crew vibe. Um, and it really stood out. Like it looked like, I mean, his video is 40 minutes long too, and it looked like everyone was having so much fun. Like Ritter, Junkyou is up in it. Moopy's clips stood out. Alex has some crazy shit going on in it. Um, so yeah, to those two projects, I am so impressed that both of them took time and patience to create them. And you asked a question earlier and about like our process. And sometimes we have to meet deadlines because we have skate coming out and things like that. Colin and I are a little bit more fast paced with our work, and I get envious sometimes of like these projects like these because they don't necessarily have like the expectations of when they need to come out with something. So they really get to take the time, like the old school videos we grew up and loved. You never knew when the next one was dropping because people were taking their time. And so a completely different process, but one that should not be overlooked and one that should be respected. And I encourage people to take their time with a video project. And I mean, you'll have to compete with these two pieces. So good luck. I hope that sometime soon, Colin and I could, work on something that's maybe a little bit longer drawn out, I guess. But we'll see how it goes. We like putting out shit quick too. We skate a lot, so we're gonna drop
Yeah.
it.
I feel like skating needs both, you know what I mean? But the fact that
It
people are
does.
taking the time and putting that time into those longer projects is like, especially for like us as like skaters from that generation where we're used to seeing those longer projects, it's like very important to see. And I didn't even know that Tate was coming out with something, but I'm sure it's amazing and looking forward to that as well.
Really
Yeah.
cool. It's like a uh, like a like a Sega Dreamcast game gone skate video. Like really cool animations, really fast, funky music, and obviously just good skating from everyone who was in it.
I love these newer, not newer, but like I feel like there was a time where these longer format videos, like nobody was making them, right? It was just about the quick Instagram clips, maybe like a 3-minute edit on YouTube, whatever. But you see them more and more now, and I love them because there's so much more, in my opinion, like of like an occasion. Maybe it brings back the nostalgia of us like watching skate videos back in the day, but like with Nemo's video, Plastic Butchers comes out every year. Like Sizemore makes his crew videos, which are relatively long, like 30 minutes or something like that. I'm seeing them more and more, and I love this. That would be sick to see like some sort of Philly or basement related, at least like half hour, 40-minute type of thing where like everyone can sit down, because usually those shorter videos, like you could watch on your phone, you could watch like on the go, whatever, and you kind of, it goes in one ear out the other. But when these longer videos, I make it an occasion. I know other people do too. Like I hear firsthand other people, like they sit down in front of the couch, they like eat dinner like while they're watching the skate video, and that's kind of like a whole different experience than just watching a clip on your phone, you know?
On the topic of Drew, he said to me once, I forget what project that I put out, but he was like, integrity, Sean, integrity. And it stuck with me because, you know, I mean, Colin and I are always being super choosy with what clips end up in the final part of it. We collect a lot because we skate a lot again, but it does come down to like, you don't want to rush a video project, especially if you're promoting something or a brand. You want the vibe to be right. And sometimes, you know, taking the time for the vibe to be right makes it right. You know, I toyed with multiple different songs for my last part and ended up choosing something that was kind of completely out of my sound element because the vibe was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of fun though. I like when that happens.
We did that, me and you, Billy, a few times with your sections back in the day.
Oh yeah,
You don't remember? Truth
No.
Two. Truth Two.
Oh yeah,
We did a few.
yeah.
We did a few different edits for your section to see,
Yeah.
and they were all completely different too. That's part
I
of the
never even
process,
knew
though.
that.
Yeah,
no?
totally.
Billy's
Yeah.
original Truth Two section was supposed to be to a Rage song, I believe. Was it Rage? I forget what it was, but it was. Then we ended up going with Master Ace. But yeah, that's kind of like
Truth one.
Truth One. Okay, it was Truth One. But yeah, that's like part of the joys of making those projects. And I feel like you could still take your time with it and spend like a year on a project and be able to also get that dopamine rush out by like posting Instagram clips throughout that time that maybe aren't as good, or maybe just like once every month or something like that. So you could get those dopamine hits of just quick clips or quick edits here and there while still taking your time to film something that's like not proper, but like a full length feature, you know?
And that's what we were doing with Base Them pretty much. Like I said, we had like the burner thing going on. We ended up making those like short reel style pieces of content for them skates in the midst of filming Base Them, but still, you know, posting clips and burner skates or whatever it may be. Like there's a way to collect and take time and be choosy, but still be able to promote yourself or promote your sponsor at the same time. Colin and I have fortunately found a good formula for that to work. Probably because we live a block away from each other and we're just always trying to skate. So lucky me.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about like I was listening to the Mushroom Blading podcast, the most recent one with when Colin was on it, your brother, and he said something that like you don't hear too much, I don't think, about skaters with their sections. How like he tries to come up with a concept with his sections, and I forget what video. It wasn't his last one, but like he had a section where like he wanted to really focus on Christ grinds and like showcase that, and then like he wanted to really focus on like thread the needle stuff and showcase that. And his latest one, I guess, was more Cesslide related. He seems to come up with those concepts all the time. Like your skating is super solid and you could pretty much do like everything. Do you ever like try to do a section and like, I'm going to focus on this aspect of my skating or skating in general to showcase per that edit?
Good observation on Colin because he definitely was going for a theme that was Cess heavy with this last one. And Colin is a different breed when it comes down to like filming video parts because he gets so laser focused into the idea that he's trying to say something with his, like, we call it a time capsule, if you will, his part of that era. So yeah, he's a master at that. I not so much. I kind of just am like a freestyle dude. I really wanted to get as tech crazy as possible with this last thing. And obviously, when you're in the moment, and you're going out and you don't know what spots you're going to find that day. You're going to see something that might just catch your eye. But I was focused on some tech heavy switch ups. You'll see them in the video. The ender, the switch up around the curve ledge, amongst a bunch of other things I got going on. So tech heavy. I think that's been my focus for quite some time in recent years.
No, yeah, I love the tech heavy approach. It's always something, and that's the thing that impresses me, that it's always, you're still coming up with maneuvers that I haven't seen before and always something new. And yeah, and obviously like not only on like your on pains and all this stuff, but everything from like reflect was just like out of control, just like brand new stuff. The sweaty up to like full cab kind grind down, even like some ideas are really poignant. When you go to like the spots, do you like have an idea in mind, or do you just come up with it like when you're there?
The ender spot where I'm skating those rails that we were unable to skate for so many years. It was a pretty bad project on the outskirts of Temple University. They are probably torn down by now. So anyway, they got completely emptied out. The place became abandoned. And I had been doing those true fish switch top horn tricks like on Payne's or like at 8th and Brown. And I had written down in my notes to go there and do that trick. So some of it's planned out, a lot of it isn't. The fakie torque fish backslide true mock torque fish. We had to go there 4 times for me to get that, and not because I couldn't do it. It was just pouring rain every single time. Even on the one I land in the part, you can see how wet it is there. So some things are planned, some things are freestyle, some things are environmental. Environmental being the basketball hoop that was broken down. That's like a school right behind me in the neighborhood. And I was driving to my girlfriend's house one day and I saw it. I was like, what the heck? And I pulled over and I climbed up it and I looked down. It was like super steep. And I was like, all right, this isn't going to be here that long. So I probably have a couple weeks to handle this
Definitely.
one. And it's gone now, obviously. They took that obstacle out of there. It was probably a hazard for kids in the schoolyard. But yeah, things like that.
Dude, say those are the best spots that like you do your tricks and they're gone and like no one could ever replicate them again or do anything close to it again. And you kind of like had your moment there. That was kind of it. I remember you posted about those rails that you did your ender on for the last edit, the little rails with the grass on it. Did anybody get those rails out? Did you ever get them? You wanted to save them, did you?
We had a crew. We were thinking about trying to save them, but the amount of work seemed pretty crazy. I had a guy who could cut. I had a guy who could transport. And then we had the guy in the chat too who actually built the Payne's rail. So, which was funded by Bladers, by the way. So shout out to the Payne's rail, the famous one. But no, we did not take them. It's the last time I checked to see if it was still there, it was all boarded up with gates. The rails were still there, but you just couldn't get in. Probably gone. Mm-hmm. But we got enough slider bars around for days, so we're good.
You're saying the slider bar that you skate at Payne's was funded by Bladers?
Yes.
How did that happen?
There was like I'm not a Facebook member, but there used to be a thing like Roll Philly on Facebook. And there was a South Philly native guy who, I guess it was probably his idea to put a rail in. And he just set up like one of those, maybe it was a GoFundMe, maybe it was just like a separate bank account or something, a PayPal. But we all donated to it. And then he made it happen. Blader built, Blader funded.
Crazy. You would think that at like a skate park, like all the obstacles there were like provided by the city, but
yeah,
just like a Blader showed up and like was like, no, we need like this rail here. That's sick, and then made it happen.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, that concept.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure if they got permission either, because like Payne's is a foundation, I don't know if they just went in there and started breaking through the ground and put it in there, or if they did get approval. I'd have to figure
Who's going to
that one
stop
out,
them?
but nobody.
I mean,
Exactly.
either way, they did a
Nobody.
great job, and I
Oh
don't I
yeah.
don't even think, short of the people who like built the park, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it was an addition. It like fits into like every aspect of the park. Like even the material of the rail seems to like
Yeah.
fit in with the other metal materials at the skate park. But yeah, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's got to be funny for like,
Yeah, I feel like
what are you saying, Sean?
go
He's
ahead. I
delayed.
was just gonna say I feel like half the time we go there and we just swarm. Am I delayed?
You were, but I think you're back.
Hello?
You're good.
Cool. All good. You shoot, Austin.
I was just gonna say it's probably Billy brought up that concept where I was like, that is pretty funny that there's this whole park and Payne's is massive too, one of the biggest parks I've ever been to, and like for workers or whoever is in charge there, like they walk by and like, nope, this wasn't good enough. These kids still need to add something in and make something in there. And I've been wanting to do that at the graveyard too. Like all of us here in Staten Island been wanting to add more stuff there, but it's a lot of work. So the fact that you guys or whoever was involved did that is awesome to see that because um, it's always cool. No matter how long you skate a spot, you're always going to want something different there, something new, something to freshen it up. And that's a good way of doing that.
Yeah, and I feel like every time we go to Payne's, we almost just like swarm around the rail now. We don't even experience the rest of the park.
That's how it was for those Tuesday night skates. We would go there and skate just half the park. And I remember like after the third or fourth time, I'm like, damn, we got to skate the whole other part of the park. Like there's so much
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
here. That park is so
Fine
good.
tune our other capabilities.
Yeah, you guys have everything mastered. So no matter what part of the park you skate, you're gonna master it no matter what.
But that aspect of the park is really good, though. They have everything there, like not only the rail, but like the benches and the jump on the bench, so that like they have everything there. So I think that's a good area to get stuck at. Like the other stuff is kind of the kink rails,
Yeah.
like the kink ledge, the double set. It's kind of like I don't know, more street y. The other one's more
Yeah.
like plaza y. But
Yeah.
I got
Yep.
your back, man. So let's talk about music really quick. I know
Sure.
before this, you said it's been a while since you've been doing your music, but let's talk about a bit about your music and then music as it relates to skate videos and what you like. So how has it been with your music making?
Um, Thank you for asking because it's kind of one of those like little hobbies that I've been doing for over a decade that I still don't feel like I'm that good at. So I like that aspect of it because I feel like I'm constantly learning. I definitely have a pretty specific music taste, which comes down to like you're like the funk style, like based off of like 3 6 Mafia, kind of almost like horror trap. So that's the kind of the stuff that I am making currently. I met a NYC blader who now lives in Florida. We are working on a little collab project. He goes by Dat Shavir on Instagram. Really cool dude. He's been teaching me a lot. So it's fun to like come back to the basics like it was when I was learning skating and just like kind of gromming out and just like absorbing everything I can from this guy. So
That's so
yeah,
sick.
I'm a noob, kind of, even though I've been doing it for so long.
I don't know. I feel like 10 years is like that's like the base you need in like any practice. Like I feel like 3 to 5 years, like anything like skating, music is like where you start getting like, okay, I know how to like use these instruments better. And then 10 years is like when you're like, okay, I've been in this for a minute. And then anything after that just goes to like levels of mastery. But
Right.
wow, that's
It then comes to like idea generation at that point. Like you've gotten good at it. Like now how can you like refine your style and become something different or something that makes you unique in like the oversaturated world of music where there's a billion people making the same kind of sound. Even though the sound that I'm into is pretty underground, there's still tons of music coming out in that world.
So, what makes you feel like a noob after you've been doing something for 10 years? Because Billy made a good point too about like after maybe 3 to 5 years, something like that, you kind of like hit a point, you reach a level. But 10 years is pretty long. And I say that because I relate to it as well. I was thinking about my drumming the other day, and I've been playing drums for I don't remember exactly how long. I'd say at least 15 years or plus years. But I still also feel like a noob on the drums a lot of the time. And I'm like, how long can you play or do something before you actually get like that comfortable or feel that experience in something? And you've been skating forever. There's no way you would call yourself a noob in skating, and 10 years is a long time. Think about your skating. If you were skating at 10 years, at whatever your point was in 10 years, you definitely weren't a noob at all. Like you were killing it, probably sponsored. You might even had like signature products at that point too. What makes you feel like a noob in music compared to other aspects of life?
Well, that's a good question, especially in comparison to skating. Like, I mean, think of like the first time I started editing, it was probably Truth 2. I was
Mhm.
editing, I was learning from you, I was learning from Torres. And I mean, it took me a while to get good at editing. So, in relation to music, like, yeah, you can make a track, but can you then master it? Can you make all the frequencies sound good together? And that is where I'm at. I'm trying to come up with this sound and then make it all come together, like orchestrate it. Uh, you can take a look at Nemo's video, like, or excuse me, Andrew. Uh, a beautifully mastered project. Like that is fine tuned to the T. There's like nothing to pick apart from it. So in the sense of like comparing it to video production, like I feel like I've gotten pretty good. Like I've developed the style with editing. I love editing audio in our skate videos. So I feel like I've developed my style and fine tuned that. Um, but I am nowhere near good at refining the sound for like the beats that I'm making. Like I got the ideas down, I can lay it on paper, but they're not perfect yet. So I feel like a noob sometimes.
Do you ever do this? Like, do you ever, when you're like, when you're filming a section and you're making a song, do you like think about your skating to the song in the section and like have that come into like the creative process when making the music?
Um, yeah, I do. Uh, for this last part, I thought I was going to skate to something entirely different. Um, but I again, it just didn't work. Like I was looking at myself to the sound, and I was just like, this isn't right. And I kind of also overdid it. I feel like for the last like couple years, I've been skating to a very similar sound. And I read in this one interview in regards to someone who was putting out skate parts that if you skate to the same sound constantly, your skating can come off one noted. And that was super inspiring to like switch it up. Also, my girlfriend was like, "I'll give you unlimited cheekles if you skate to this song," and I was like,
Ah,
"Okay."
You just blew my
that's
mind
just
with a few things that you said right there. But I want to like take it chronologically. That first one about like if you skate to the same, what was it? If you skate to the same type of music, it's the same
Same
comes off the
sound.
same sound. That is very interesting. I feel like I always picture certain people skating to like a certain style of music all the time, and even like every day, everybody kind of feels this out now because you make Instagram reels and you add music to it on Instagram. You could pick whatever music you want, pretty much. And a lot of times when I try to pick my own music for my reels, I get stuck into like one genre of music that kind of I feel fits either my skating style or how it's filmed, and then I switch it up. Like one of my last reels, I used a completely different style of music, and I'm like, I kind of like it, but it's so different that it kind of just almost turned me off a little bit. But I still went with it anyway. And do you think people skating could go different ways? Like if you re-edited your last Reflect edit to a completely different song, like how you wanted to do like a rock song or something like that, do you think it would work? You think you'd be able to edit it to that style of music and make it and pull it off, or no?
I, I I don't know. I think I could edit it to like a 3/6 track and make it look pretty decent. Or like the music that I'm listening to, like all the SoundCloud artists that I love and listen to constantly. But that part was really hard for me to edit to, like just that alone. And I didn't give like uh, many different genres a chance. when editing that. It was like, all right, you're either skating to this like dark horror Memphis sound that I'm always skating to, or here's this song. And I had it edited and it looked good. Um, so I don't know. Sometimes you just get lucky. You like roll the dice, and uh, I thought it worked for me, which was rare because I like was super insecure about using that song. Looking back at it,
It definitely worked, and it yeah, like your style of skating now, like more recently, I guess it's the same style of music generally for a lot of your recent stuff, and that's how I always picture your skating now. But like I'm thinking back on it, and you used to skate to like all sorts of hip hop. You used to skate to in the beginning Philly videos. You used to skate to like punk rock music because that's what Majet used to use in his videos and stuff too. So
yeah.
it's like interesting seeing the transition of like your beginning days skating to like punk rock music to like hip hop, and now what would the genre call now that you would make your music? Like what do you call that?
It's called in the world. It's called funk, phonk.
Okay.
There's like a boss overlord leader who has like YouTube channels that play 24/7. His name is Ryan Celsius. He calls himself the funk overlord. He's like the leader of the underground movement in that world.
Okay.
And he is so articulate in the way he speaks and the way like I've listened to interviews of this guy. He is so innovative in the way he showcases the sound. And there's something that I'm probably attracted to that goes along with that. Like if you go to his like YouTube channel, you'll be watching like old cartoons like in loop, or it could be like his Trappin' in Japan series where you're just in a car like moving through the streets of Japan at night. And when you're listening to it, you're like almost feeling the vibe. So he's a leader in that world of like exposing new artists, and where I get a lot of inspiration from musically. So he's a great dude.
You know, I actually, I'm gonna in this. There's a couple of like kind of abstract questions I want to ask you, but this one is one I'm curious about, especially since we were touching on, uh, things you like with Tate and Brain God, and now we're talking about music. And again, we've begun with fashion. Out of these top four things in a skate project, whether it be edit or full video piece, what do you think is the 1 through 4 priority? 1 being the most important and significant thing, and then all the way down to 4 being the last, between the skating itself, the videography, the music, and hold
Fashion.
on, sorry, and the fashion. Yeah, like what do you
All
like?
right.
So like I'm curious what you think is like number one, and
I like
because
that.
obviously there's different priorities and different projects and different things. So I'm curious, and it's obviously always subject to change, but I'm curious where you're at now.
So I would do a great disrespect to Mr. Rawlinson if I didn't go with looks first, because I'm rocking, this classic New York shit. Um, yeah, you got to look cool. You got to play the part. And everybody has their own idea of what looks cool to them. So I appreciate all different kinds of fashion in skating. Everyone, to me, it's pretty cool. I mean, you look at a video like Bebus, and specifically, I'm thinking of that guy's Soils part. Crazy fashion, crazy song.
Right.
Looked looked amazing, and he might not be like your most advanced technical skater or hammer skater or anything like that, but that dude, he looked cool. So look, number
Mm-hmm.
one. Filming, a strong number two. Uh, I am very particular with how things are filmed. Um, Colin is awesome at it. I think we do a good job, and I don't think we're necessarily inspired by anything that we see, because like I don't watch like a lot of other action sports films, particularly. I think we just have been holding a camera for 30 years, so we just like have this like I almost, it's like second nature on how to capture Colin. And I
Yeah,
think
you
that it's second nature for him to capture me as well. And there's this trust and this bond that we've developed, that has just gotten almost just better with every project, in my opinion.
for sure.
So filming, um, obviously, I think skating will be three, uh, just because, I mean, skating.
Yeah.
And then music, like we just went over, you can come off one noted if you skate to the same thing, so switch it up. Uh, you know, I could probably try and skate to as many different genres as possible. And if those three things that led into the last part of the music were sound, I think I could make it work.
I love that. I love your perspective on that. And I think I have to admit, like it comes off that way, and I agree in that way. And it's actually making me self-conscious right now. I got to get on my fashion game, bro. But it's true. Like Rawlinson said back in the day, I think it was Hoax 5, you look good, you skate good, you only skate as good as you look.
Yeah.
And
That's the one.
so that's, I love that mentality behind it. And yeah, I think when you change the focus, or you can see within each video and within each project what the focus is and what each element can do when it becomes the focus, and how it can like get across the screen to different people in different ways and have different effects and emotional reactions to everything like that. So yeah, I think that's cool. I really liked your answer.
Yeah.
Colin, my last trick in the reflect part, since it's the most recent, I'm just going to go back to it. My ender trick, the camera was like out of focus, and it just like brilliantly worked out this way. And when I come into focus, I had ramped slow mode this whole thing, like the whole intro of the skate up. Like I used it from the very beginning of the clip. Like I didn't cut anything. And when it comes into focus, you can see how ironically focused I was. I had been trying that trick. I think it was like 104 times till I landed it.
Whoa.
But there was like, he wasn't on my skates. He wasn't really on my gear. It's like head shot up, and I look insanely crazy focused. And there's something special about that. Like if it was filmed any different way, I don't know if it would have like hit the same,
No, definitely like that. For me, like those moments in skate videos, especially when I was younger, are like the most impactful moments. The moments where like you can see like the emotion happening, because that's the thing that kind of, despite the medium, whether it be skating, music, BMXing, b-boying, whatever, that like emotional thing is the thing we all share. And then when you see someone connect through that medium in what they do and their craft and what they do, and then have that emotional connection, it's something that everyone can relate to. The intensity of a moment in skating, the focus, like all that stuff, I think is the thing that captivates people who aren't already like engaged and captivated in the sport. So to be able to capture that on film and then highlight it like with music, and like also like the videography that is able to capture that is that's when you hit the peak, because that's what like you're going for, so
Yeah.
I think that's what we're all going for. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I kind of prefer long shots over fish shots for most skating stuff. Obviously, fish shot you need it for a lot of things to like look really cool, or double angles. But as I like matured in life and in skating, I've leaned more towards longer lens shots compared to
Same.
fish shot, because you see so much more of like the run up and everything like that, unless you're follow cam. But more of the run up, you get the tight shots of the skates, the look on the person's face, little details, even stuff in the background, like Philly's known for the hood babies. You got all the hood babies in the background, So it's
Yeah.
you get a lot more out of those long shots, and that's like shout out to Butter TV. When I filmed my last edit with him, I was like hyped for JP because he does a more long shot than fisheye stuff, and that was something I was looking for when I made that edit with JP, and I love seeing that more and more in skate videos, especially when it's done properly like that.
Which that was a fire edit, by the way, and he did a really good job. But I agree with you 100%. I used to be so fisheye heavy, like, freak the point three. And I'm just after you said that, I'm like curious to where the transition had occurred to where like long lens has become like this more like almost like fashionable way to shoot. And I got to think like maybe it's because like when we're playing around and people are shooting with phones, like you almost get used to this like uh whole long style lens of how you're shooting with the phone. So it's like maybe there was some sort of like unspoken transition with technology that has adapted our eyes to enjoy seeing long lens more than fisheye.
That's true. I didn't think about that. And as I was saying it also, I realized that you haven't made like a fish guys video in a while. And our last conversation that we had on the podcast, we also talked about the transition of like filming skating with phones for like Instagram stuff, as opposed to just uploading regular camera tricks 16 by 9 on a phone. Yeah, that's cool. Like subliminally, we noticed that we attract to the long lens stuff, film with the phone, and probably that transitions over to how you film your serious skating stuff too. I
For
wanted to ask you
sure.
one thing about the music too, because you're such a heavy music guy. You have so many roots in the game. Do you have a skate video that had like your favorite soundtrack of any kind?
Oh gosh. Uh, I mean, this will date me, but I mean, going back to like the early VGs is like what I actually told this story the other day. It was I'm a huge Dilla fan. And one of the first songs that I heard in a skate video was like, I mean, the Roots were in it. Far Side, the song Runnin'. So like I remember that connections part in I forget if it was VG3 or VG4. But that song was in it. And I didn't find out till probably the time when I got into making music that it was like Dilla produced all this stuff. And well, not all this stuff. That song by Farside, particularly "Running," we all know it. Um, so I would have to just say like all those old VGs are what like kind of um, inspired me towards the hip hop, and then later on, finding out who's producing this.
Hmm.
So yeah, VG4, Tribe Called Quest, John Julio. I mean, like you're talking classic stuff.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna go somewhere in that direction with skate videos. Billy, do you have any soundtracks from skate videos stand out in your mind? Because I feel like we all just used to reference songs and skate videos back in the day, and even now, I think on Spotify there are some skate video playlists which I find really cool. Like you could go on Spotify and type in like I don't know which ones exactly, but like Brain Fear Gone, and the Brain Fear Gone playlist will pop up, and you can like listen to all the songs. I think it's like pretty cool. Billy, did you have any ones that stood out in your mind?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, like for me, like the memories of old skate music, especially from like back in the day, kind of remind me of things that were like good music and things that are like bad that I don't really like as music. Like, so like I think of like old Sublime, old 311 sometimes from like the Hoax 2 things, but I also think of like Quest like the Alcoholics and Far Side
Hmm.
and these like um California hip hop groups from that era that I really wasn't too familiar with being from New York City, like especially like it was just heavy East Coast, rap, hip hop, and like getting exposed to like through the skate videos, like Dave Payne, VG stuff, like introducing like Dave Payne's like obviously his brother was a DJ. We talked about it when we had Dave on, so all that stuff kind of reminds me of the nostalgic skate video stuff. But today, I just it's different sounds and different musics will remind me of different crews. If I hear like Slayer, I'll think of Carlos and if I hear like Tupac, or like Trick Daddy, I'll think of like Rashard, Frankie or Omar, something like that. So
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
music that's associated with certain people, and it's harder to do that with Basement and Sean and Colin because they've kind of used such a wide variety of music. Like I was a big fan of when, obviously I mentioned it last time, but the typo negative application in your last stuff at being like from New York and like those guys being from Brooklyn and Staten Island. And
Yeah.
So I liked that was a cool change, and I like when it's not predictable, like when things aren't predictable, and it surprises you, like the moments, like a lot of that came up in your skating in the section and reflect, like when you have like those super tech switch ups and something comes out that you don't expect. So or even just like the continuation of going all the way back to Fishbrain from the half cab front torque Fishbrain and going all the way around. So like yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting how the music aspect plays such a large part of the nostalgia that a lot of us older bladers have and can relate to, you know.
I
Um,
mean,
For sure.
truthfully, we've said it before, but like the old skate videos curated like the soundtrack to my life almost. I mean, it
Right.
yep.
put me onto everything that I'm interested in to this day. So,
Hmm.
And it's interesting to think that now you're like a part of the creation process. Like in some capacity, you could be doing that for new skaters who are like getting turned on to like their first skate videos being, might be basement videos, and then just like having that, have an emotional connection with them, and then that being something that they associate with rollerblading for years to come. It's interesting to think
that's so
about.
true.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so, so true.
Yeah, you got we kind of touched on it on the last episode too, but like to come out with like basement soundtracks of some sort, or like vinyls or something like that, of like soundtracks to like your guys' skate videos. To I'm sure a lot of people just like to listen to it anyway, but it kind of like solidifies that aspect of what you do and how important that is to skating. I think that'd be like a cool little touch to Basement's flair.
I always try to upload the soundtracks to my SoundCloud so people can download them or just stream them. I've gotten flagged a couple times
Yeah.
for a couple recent projects, but it's basically just like a ghost computer system that was reading a sample and they read it completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that this 3-6 Mafia track was a Suicide Boys song, which I recently found out that Suicide Boys did get sued for using that sample by 3-6. So I'm sure that has something to do with why I got flagged for
Oh shit.
it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's the problem with music nowadays too, especially with technology, with YouTube and everything like that. Everything gets flagged unless you have the rights to it, but then you got to use like a different kind of music that like I don't know people might not like, or you have to be an original artist of some sort. So I see the problems with all that stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
Sean, so in a little bit, we're going to get into some of these Patreon questions. People were very excited to have you on. So we have a few lined up. We're going to touch on a few in the group chat, not too many. But before we get into that, I have another one of those kind of abstract questions for you.
Shoot.
So on the last episode, we had a prediction for what could happen in the future of blading 2024, but also beyond that. As someone who's been involved for so many years, and I believe we've talked about this before, but I feel like the perspective on this always changes as blading is ever changing. What do you foresee with, especially in light of like all the different skate videos and different presentations being brought forth, and like after all these years, we're still seeing new takes and new perspectives and new approaches to skating and how we prioritize the tricks that we do. Where do you see the future of skating going? I guess, and it's up to you how you want to answer. It could be the near future or the far future, but what do you see as the future ahead?
Well, one, I love that question because there are so many different styles of skating that I love and appreciate. I tend to stick to more of I mean, I'll get a little funky here and there and mix it in, but I would say I have more of like a standard approach to skating. I might escalate my ability a little bit much to take the standard to a little bit above standard sometimes. Um, but, and again, I appreciate all the nuances and all the new stuff and the new ideas that are coming out. Um, Probably, especially with the advancement of technology, new wheels, new frames, whatever it might be that, help facilitate that kind of skating. Um, I see it moving, and maybe this might be just because I like a more standard approach. But I do see like maybe more of like the classic style of skating coming back, like the finesse, um, more, and that's something like, for instance, John Julio, watch him do a topsail all day long. Um, and I'm not saying something so simplistic of just a topsail. I'm saying more of like, like these are the tricks that we can do on these skates. We're going to do them. Um, and again, this is just my idea. Like, I still think people are forever going to get funky with the new ideas. I see this crazy footwork that's happening. Um, but maybe that'll just like be looked at as a fad. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it will be cringy a year or 2 or 3 from now. And not that I think that way. I don't think it's cringy. I won't look back and think that any kind of different stylistic approach to skating would be cringy. But maybe it will just kind of flatten out a little bit and come back to the basics, maybe elevated basics, kind of like what I'm trying to do a little bit.
I gotta say, first of all, it's a great answer, and part of me really agrees with that. Watching a lot of I mentioned it on the last episode, but watching the Japanese skaters approach of just like it's such a good blend of what's happening now, what's traditional, and what's that traditional style and swag that we all really loved from like Brian Jaggers or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like that
Perfect name to mention.
that kind of like um care put into each trick instead of just like looking like you want to get the trick over with. It's just like each like you really want to be there like during each trick. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's a good answer. And yeah, I just because it was our last episode where we kind of went into that, I thought it'd be fun to ask you that as well.
It kind of even comes back to the question that you were asking me of like why I feel like a noob in music, and it's because like I can't like master my tracks yet. I'm not like technologically capable of doing that yet, just because I don't understand it. Now maybe coming back to this, you mentioned Brian Jaggers, like dude mastered the sweaty. You could watch him sweaty that long rail with the big dome like all day long. So it's like yeah that. Mastering a traditional approach, blending in some of the new stuff that's going on in little ways.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I love that.
I mean, kind of bringing it back to the basics a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that too. I had a lot of similar thoughts, but I think it'll spring another hour-long conversation, and we have lots of people who have questions for you, Sean, in the chat and on Patreon. But before we even do that, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a giveaway for everybody here. So thank you to our sponsor for this episode, Create Originals, who sponsored this episode. And Sean just released his Reflect frame with Create Originals. So they decided to give away a pair of frames for all of you. And we're doing it a little different this time. We're going to have some fun with this. So here is, that's not Sean's frame. That's Sean's frame right there. So if you go to jumpstreetpodcast.com for the next week, we have a quiz about Sean, Create Originals, Jump Street, all this fun stuff. It's a 10-question quiz. We had some fun making it. So all you have to do is go to jumpstreetpodcast.com, fill out the quiz, take the quiz, have some fun with it, enter your email and name at the end, and just submit it. So everybody will be entered for a chance to win a pair of these beautiful Create Originals Sean Kelso Reflectio frames. You have 7 days to do it. Anybody in the world can win. There's no skill or anything like that, skill level. So it doesn't matter about like posting a trick. Yeah, it doesn't matter like posting a trick or anything like that. It's nice and easy. Also, you don't have to score 100 on the quiz. Just take the quiz. Even if you get none of them right, you're still entered to win. But you have to take the entire quiz to actually enter your email and name for a chance to win. So check that out. Head to jumpstreetpodcast.com whenever you're done with this, or whenever you have a chance to in the next 7 days. Enter, and then we will announce the winner at random on the next episode. And I believe it should be live now if you check on the jumpstreetpodcast.com website. Yep, it is. So check it out now. Thank you to Create Originals for doing that. It's awesome. We love having giveaways. We love involving everybody. have some fun with this quiz, and yeah, we'll announce the winner in the next episode. You excited, Sean?
I am. I mean, I always tell this to the Create guys. They've been supporting me since it's one of the questions on the quiz that I would probably get wrong, but since whenever Create started, they've been supporting me.
You're ruining the questions.
If I just one. If they weren't supporting me, I'd still skate Create frames because I think that they are the best frame, and I mean that. I've told them that, so it's the truth. I hope that someone maybe who hasn't tried Creates gets them, but I would also be really happy if a Create supporter ended up with them as well.
Yeah, anybody has a chance to win. And I was talking with the Create guys earlier or the other day when we were talking about this, having this giveaway, and they mentioned like the concepts that you guys had about like the process that you ended up on the Reflect frame, and they actually sent me one of the prototype ideas that you had for the frames. So I actually have them right here to.
Oh, that's so funny.
To match your tattoos. And I have a mock-up of the ad right there with the
Dude. All right.
Who wore it better?
Right.
Who wore it better?
Very, very good. I feel like a big dork right now.
Yeah,
but
right.
Good job.
Okay, Billy will be back, but we have Patreon questions and everything here. I just had the Mark Moreno stickers here, and I'm like, this is perfect. It lines up perfectly with your tattoos and everything. So I hope I didn't make you too.
No, they hit me up. They hit me up about a frame. My girlfriend's an artist, and she does like really cool dark work, I guess I could say. Like she's kind of like the tattoo version of the music that I listen to, basically. So like my first thought was, all right, I'll get a frame. I'll get her to do some art. But I'm like pretty simple as far as like, I mean, I'll make a loud, flashy setup. I don't really want like crazy colors or crazy patterns on my skates necessarily. And I was just like, well, what if it was going to reflect? Colin could stick the fisheye in there. Maybe we'll like catch some reflection or something, which I've seen in some of the clips. But I was like, I'm so attracted to solo frames at the same time. So I was like, all right, well, this is like a not cheaper, but like a version of that look. And it's plain, it's simple. There's no art on it. So shout outs to Create for making my vision come through.
Yeah, they're awesome. Super unique frame too. It'd be cool if even somebody like drew on the reflective part of it, like with a Sharpie, like someone who's an artist. That could look really cool too. But let's get into these Patreon questions. There's so many here. We usually do 3, maybe we'll do 4, depending on how the chat is, because there's so many in here. You guys went off on Patreon, but let's kick it off with this first one from Patrick O'Sullivan, who asked, what is his favorite trick from all his sections in 2023?
Sweaty three, true KG, whatever you want to call it. That was it was random. Colin and I showed up. I was like, yo, film this, and I was like just front siding up it, and then I was like, all right, film this, and I like tried to torque, and I was like, oh, that looks so bad, and then put the camera down for a second. I tried sweaty up it, and then I just went to sweaty up it and tried to spin as far as I could go, and the rail had this bounce to it, and I ended up spinning so high and spinning 360 that I saw the rail down there, and I was like, okay, that idea came into fruition. And I did it second try. I wasn't happy with the landed trick, so I tried it again for like another hour. But I ended up using the second try one. My foot did like a slight, you can barely notice it, like a slight movement inside the H block on the back foot. And me being the picky person I am, and being that I did it second try, I was like, oh, I can get this better. But traffic got intense. Skating across that busy ass road was not fun. So that is my favorite trick.
Dude, it's so funny when you land something like hard, like first, second, third try. It's like you feel like you almost have to keep doing. Like it's like you find a problem. It's like you feel like you have to like, and then like you look back at it and you're like, wait, that's awesome. What am I doing?
Yeah.
That's funny. Cool.
Yeah.
Next Patreon question is from Too Easy, who says, the first time I ever filmed Sean was in San Francisco when we were filming for the Brain Dead
Sick.
video on the Orange Bench. Later, I found out that the clip got leaked through Google Maps car, and Google Maps car with the approach and the trick were caught on camera and posted on the web. Was there ever another time a clip has been leaked of yours while out filming a project? That's a crazy story, by the way. I never heard of that before.
So that is a crazy story. What's up, Greg? Hope all is well. Um, what a good dude. What a great filmer. His projects are awesome. We had a couple leaks for the basement skate when no one knew that it was coming out. And we were at the spot where I did that fakey torque fish all the way around. And this was like months and months, months and months before when we were filming Base Them. But I get a call from Julio, and Julio's like, yo, your boy just posted the skates. And I was like, what? And our friend Tyler Knight, he went to take a picture of us just rub bricking. We like made this spot and blasted it into like Cali cement basically. And he didn't even notice, but Colin's skates were like there in the background. But yeah, quickly deleted. So not any tricks, but we had two scares with the skates leaking. One, I filmed a clip of Parker at Whitehall, and it was me filming, and I'm filming him rolling style with the iPhone, and my skates are like clearly in the background of the clip. Someone sniped it, posted it on Facebook. So we had a couple scares there. But never
That's
clip.
tough. That's tough to be on top of, but
Yeah.
I've experienced that before. It's not fun.
I remember I was like DMing dudes. They're like, "What is this? It looks like creamish pink, like salmon." I was like, "No, those are Ritters. Like they're just the color was off."
Yeah, it's a filter.
That would have been a good excuse too. I'm glad you mentioned that one too, because I remember people were wondering, like, is that on purpose? Like, because some people leak shit intentionally.
Yeah.
But I completely forgot about that. But thanks, Tyler, for the leak.
Yeah.
Next question is from Nathan Bentley, who says, Sean, you are obviously a methodical skater with an intensely clear vision. My question is two parts relating to your process and product. First, how many of your keeper clips have an element of improvisation? And second, how has the way you skate been impacted by your role both as a filmer and producer?
Ooh, heavy one. Improv. I mean, I'm trying to just think of my most recent stuff. Uh, it depends because sometimes like I'll just be like skating for fun. Like I don't even want to talk about painter anymore. I'm so tired of it. But like when filming a clip, improv. I mean, I guess that sweaty was kind of improv because, like I said, I had Colin out, filming me doing some whack frontside up it, and I was like trying to torque. I was like, how can I make this thing look cool? I didn't go there with any intention of sweaty 3 true kg, whatever you want to call it. So there's your improv answer right there. It kind of depends on spot base. There was also a trick from that part where I do the 360 fish on the wall rail to switch alley fish, avoiding that weird sign that was sticking out. I was filming a completely different trick there. I was doing a line and we were just reviewing it. I was like, what am I doing? I was like kind of trying to do something a little bit too basic and just kind of like see it out. And I said to Con, I was like, hold on, give me a couple minutes. Let me like figure something out that's gonna be a little bit wild for this. And I just started toying with that 360 fish brain. I was doing it to Ali Macchio at first, and I was like, this isn't hard enough. This isn't hard enough. So I started toying with it and switch Ali fish. And then I was like, all right, Kyle, we're good to go. Let's start filming. So yeah, spot-based improvisation. I mentioned before on the cast, I do have some notes when filming of like tricks that I do want to complete. But going out skating is like rolling the dice, man. It's you never know what spot you're going to end up. You never know what's going to catch your eye or your mood that day. So a lot of it is freestyle based unless the spot is, on your radar. Sorry, I forget the next question.
Next one was, how has the way you skate been impacted by your role as a filmer and producer? Whoops.
Um, uh, so Ritter always likes to compliment me on my last piece that I made because he was like, "Oh, it was perfect. It was like not lots of crazy editing." And I had to laugh to myself because it's like, I mean, that's kind of the way I approach sometimes. I'm loud with like gear, the gear that I rock, or I'm loud with the amount of like tech shit that I want to like fit into one part. My music is loud and sometimes obtrusive and heavy bassy and littered with all different kinds of samples. Um, so sometimes like maybe I crowd things up a lot sometimes. Maybe that's my style. Maybe that's my approach is like to do a lot in one thing.
I
Maybe
like
you need to
that.
simplify.
I like
Maybe you
that.
need to simplify it a little bit.
Yeah, we have. Well, we usually do 3 questions for Patreon. I'm gonna do one more just because it's been asked a couple of times in Patreon and in the chat as well. But Michael Garlinghouse, along with Al DeLega, and in the live chat, Alex and Michael Fromling, all want to know what you are filming with now because people saw your camera for sale and don't know what you're shooting with now. So people have a lot of questions about the gear.
Um, I hope people. At first I was like, oh, I don't want to post my old camera in the store because I want people to ask questions and know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But I would like to motivate people to use good camera gear and film their homies and make good projects. There's tons of great cameras out there. I just got one that fits my needs that I am a 10 out of 10 on, and it is the Canon XF605. I'm obsessed with it. It's like the perfect skate camcorder, in my opinion. From the audio thud to the way the fisheye comes onto the front. I mean, it's simple, it's basic, and it's everything that we like as far as like pulling the camera out and getting to work. As far as like filming skating goes, you're not attaching a billion things. Like that's not how we do it. That's not how we never ever did it. Canon, you can give me royalties on that plug.
That'd be nice.
um, yeah, it would be nice. But yeah, we moved away. The Our last two parts were half and half. So half of it was shot on the Panasonic CX350, and then half of it was on the Canon XF605. I think I paired them pretty nicely as far as making a match look like it was one camera. Uh, the Panasonic had crazy focus issues, um, both fisheye and long. Audio sounded like a tin can. So I was always a Panasonic user, besides the GL back in the day. But there's the answer. Great camera.
Very cool.
There's some super chats in here. I'm gonna just throw up real quick, Billy, before we get into the regular questions here. Um, Joey's got a few in here, Mr. Brown.
Yeah,
Goldies.
I have the super chat question is from 17
There we go.
BKS.
I got it here.
They say, why didn't Cutter Gauthier want to come to Philly?
I saw that pop up earlier, and I'm not sure I understand the question. I was about to Google who
Good,
Cutter
because I don't
Gauthier.
either.
Honestly, when I don't like understand it, I feel like it's like a D's nuts joke or something like that. I'm like, what is
American hockey
what
player.
is-
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I like sports jerseys a lot.
Oh, maybe you wore his jersey because I guess
I
there's a picture of him in the
I
Flyers jersey.
Yeah, but I don't really follow sports too often. I should a little bit more so because I like sports. I kind of get motivated off sports sometimes. Like when I see these dudes in like prime physical form and like being super athletic, like, and their little interviews after the game. There's something motivating about it that keeps me going. Um, about to hit 2 years with no drinking alcohol in February, so uh, lots of good things have happened since then for me, both physically and mentally. I feel like uh, just become a better dude and just all around just taking better care of myself. And I feel like that has like a huge impact on what I'm trying to complete on a daily basis. Uh, Nominated that SOTY award again, got it last year. So things are working out. Yeah.
Do you still hit the NAs every now and then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's nothing
Nice.
like, I mean, it's like an occasional thing. I was gonna get some for this episode, but I didn't want to be like the guy drinking the fake beers. So
What are you
I
sipping
made
on?
some coffee. Coffee.
Coffee
I got
at
some
8 o'clock at night.
Dude, I had a long day. Like I told you, like I've been on the computer all day, Zoom calls. So it's like this has been just a long going me right here all day.
Damn, you didn't throw any push-ups in
But
the
I
in the
love
middle.
talking to you guys. I actually just before we got on chat, I moved my weights and my yoga mat, which I just like will be working and working out at the same time all day long,
You still ride your Peloton?
every day. I think I'm on 480 days straight.
Whoa.
Well, that doesn't count with like Blade Cup trips and stuff like that, but I
Yeah.
still try to do a Peloton workout like on my
Yeah.
phone app, like a stretch or something like that. But yeah, some
Damn.
crazy amount of days straight.
Get it. I rode
Sick.
mine before jumping on here to get me fired up for the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have any other questions in the chat, Billy? I mean, we didn't really do
Yeah.
anything besides the super chats and the Patreon.
Yeah. There's like we'll take like I know we've had you for a while. We're almost about to hit the 2 hour mark, so we'll just ask three of these, and then
I'm just warming up. Keep them
okay,
coming.
we'll maybe get four then. Okay, here's a quick one. What's the SoundCloud link?
My SoundCloud's simple. It's just soundcloud.com/Kelso. Honestly, I haven't posted stuff in there in quite some time. As I mentioned earlier, I'm working on a project for the first time with a collaborator. So when we start fine tuning that a little bit more, maybe I'll start promoting it a little bit. I feel kind of weird when I post like music in my stories and stuff like that. And maybe I need like a different channel for that.
I know what you mean. There's like a couple of times I've like shown my like band on my Instagram, and like it gets like no likes, but like if I post like a soul grind from like a week ago, like everyone likes it. I'm like, man, everyone only wants me to skate. That's it. Just like
Yeah.
just skate.
It's true. It's true.
Don't do
They don't
anything
even
else. Just skate.
They don't even want to picture your face anymore. They just want tricks.
Like just skate. Yeah. Cool. So we'll get into a few of these. Sean Michelson says, question. This is an interesting question. Sean, what's your top 3 favorite vintage wheel graphics? Very specific.
Whoa.
Vintage wheel
Ooh,
graphics.
That's a good question, Sean.
Holy moly. Senate Lowriders. The classic. I remember walking into the local ski/skate shop when I was a kid and seeing those bounce off that dark charcoal Majestic 12, and you could clearly see the Halo logo like sticking off the wheel. So those just being a classic. I was a huge hyper fan. The midgets, the dwarfs. I'm going to categorize them into one. The fat boys, wildly crazy, almost kind of like a gruesome, grungy '90s style graphic. To be honest, I don't really like wheel graphics anymore. I like blank wheels, as funny as that is. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of other wheel graphics that not necessarily a wheel graphic, but just to bring up another brand in Kryptonics. They made an anti-rocker with the tequila bottle, and they put the little worm inside of one of the wheels.
Yeah.
So there were no graphics on that wheel, but they just had the one worm like slithered there right inside the one wheel.
That's
Awesome
sick.
idea.
That's an interesting take on it too, because I remember the wheels too. I never thought about that too. Like they didn't even need a graphic; it was just like that little touch.
Yeah.
This is.
I have a real quick. If he's listening, that guy I mentioned him earlier, who's sending me the XL Senate Halo hoodie. in his surprise package is a brand new pack of those Kryptonics that I'm sending him. He doesn't know it, so if he listens to this, that's coming.
Damn, that's nice.
Yeah.
I actually really like this question. Is doing big tricks a sign of insecure masculinity? Not my opinion. Comes from one popular blading YouTuber.
That's interesting.
uh, um, Big tricks. I mean, I like to think that I do big tricks sometimes, and I don't think that. And then I love to play with small tricks. Uh, some guys like big trucks. I would say if you drive a big truck with like the little balls hanging on the back of it, maybe maybe you fit into that category. But I don't think so. I don't. I think doing big stuff is a test to us as humans, just wanting to test what we're capable of. It's the same reason why I flourished to technical skating, um, because I've developed this control that allows me to do things that maybe people might not be able to do technically. And some people have developed the control to do big tricks, um, that other people might not feel that they have the same control or willingness to try. Um, Still takes control in the end. So you
That's
got to
true.
control yourself. That's all it is.
I wonder who said that. Which YouTuber said that?
I think it's funny.
It is funny.
As in,
Okay.
as in, what?
Nothing. I don't know who it is. You
Were you
guys
gonna
seem
guess?
like you know.
Oh,
I don't.
I definitely don't know. I never heard that before.
Oh, okay.
As a new skater, less than 12 months skating, would you recommend park or street skating? Very broad question.
That is awesome that someone less than 12 months skating is on this podcast right now. Like that's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Uh, One, you're awesome, cool. Keep doing it. Pay attention to cool shit. There's a lot of cool shit out there. Um, Dude, learn or whoever you are, do both. Um, I grew up not skating skate parks, not because I didn't choose to, just because I didn't have access to. So all we had were curbs and whatever was local to us. So that's the way I learned. Um, I think that it depends with what you're going for. I mean, at such a young age, you should probably try both to see what suits you, see what you like more. But I would always push for street skating first and foremost. You'll develop more control on your skates, being able to like deal with different kind of ground, different kind of terrain. Park can be, like we said earlier, like a one-noted kind of feeling, especially if you're skating something super smooth all the time. You might not be able to grow as easily.
Definitely. It will make you adjust to this, give you make you look at skating with a very different eye. And I can relate. I think a lot of people from our generation or who have been skating for as long as we have, like, had to skate street by default because there just wasn't
Yeah.
too many parks around.
Hmm.
There's at least two more that I'm going to take, maybe three, but we'll just take these two at least. Um, I feel like we have to touch on this almost every time we talk, but it's Michael Frumling says, "Where's Chris Seshire? Does he still skate? Have you heard from him? Has there been any news?"
Uh, I haven't talked to Chris in quite some time. Um, he did come out maybe a little bit over a year ago, a couple times. I gave him a pair of them skates. Um, he was handling some back roys and topsols. It was still freezing cold out at the time, so he never enjoyed that. So I don't think he had a good taste in his mouth, but he toyed around with it. But I haven't talked to him in quite some time.
Cool. Um, okay, I like this question, especially based on the first topic we discussed. What's your favorite piece of skate memorabilia that you would grab if your house was on fire?
uh, It's going to be that hoodie that will be arriving in the mail, that Senate Halo hoodie that I had when I was a kid, but it's not
Nice.
here yet. Um, but in the other room, John sent me I guess it's going to be memorabilia. It might not seem like memorabilia now, but John sent me a fresh pair of bass stems that I can just hang in my room, that I have lots of shoes in. Um, but I'll grab those. I'm gonna grab a piece of vintage too. Um, um, I have a that Senate Ill Will. It's coming with me. I have a clip of Colin that I still want to use in a current video where I'm filming him at like the famous like City Hall, which is catty corner from Love Park. And he's got this like ProTech helmet on with like stickers all over it, and he's rocking the Ill Will. So when I found that, I wanted to film some sort of transition where he was like wearing that as a young child into him wearing it today. So because I have that on my radar, that shirt's coming with.
You've been talking about that like reference of the old skate clips for a long time. I remember now, like we had conversations years ago about that.
Yeah. It's something, I think it started maybe when I was living in Kansas City. I just started collecting old stuff. I was buying anything that was like vintagey rollerblade. I didn't have sponsors at the time, so I was buying like lots of Solomons and just like holding on to them. And then it kind of started from there. I wasn't necessarily seeking out gear at that time though. It was more so like skates and wheels and like things that I thought that I could use, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where it began. Mm. Uh,
Okay.
Speaking of that time, real quick, I had a notification set for Sucker Bladers for like 8 or 9 years, and the other day it finally came up, and I got the medium Sucker Bladers roll tee. So
No way.
super crazy. And when I say I waited, like I waited for that thing to show up.
8 or 9
Like,
years.
yep, notification finally popped on the other morning, like a week, not last week, but the weekend before. I was driving to the skate spot. I was like, there's no way. And I clicked on it and boom, copped instantly.
So how many
No way.
vintage like skate stuff is on your eBay radar then? Because you probably forgot that you even put that there 8, 9 years ago. Like, who knows?
I I was searching around today at stuff, and I was like, what am I even doing? I was like, I got everything I need. I got I'm good. I got Sucker Bladers, I got this, I got all the Halo things that I had when I was a kid. So I'm checking out.
So
Gonna
sick.
I'm good.
You're bowing out on top.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay, we're gonna take this one more because it's relating to the skate. Even though Sean's, we already asked one of Sean's questions. I think it's a good one. It's a good place to end it. Sean Michelson says, "What was the pink in the base stem skates inspired by? Erasers, bubblegum, or do you even consider it pink or salmon?
Good
What was it
question.
inspired by?"
We had a couple different designs going. That comfortable couple different colorways, I should say. The liner had that kind of like 90s textile pattern, that was always going to be it. We had a version that was a mint color. We had a version that was like that light bubblegummy pink salmon tan, which a version of that color, that pink color, ended up being like color of the year in 2023. So I was like hype when I
Wow.
saw that Pantone color of the year. But it wasn't necessarily inspired by anything. It was just like maybe trying to do something a little bit different. It can be loud if you want it to be, but I tone it down with like white parts, and you rock some like clean pants with it. They look really cool looking down at them. There wasn't necessarily like I said, we were just playing with colors and ideas and trying to do something that maybe wasn't expected. The name Bubble Mint popped out, and it was like, all right, let's give this a shot. The designer, Mike McMullen, was like really about it too. He was like pushing it.
Came out really good.
Sick.
That pink color matches the liner design perfectly. I feel like mint wouldn't have gone with that as well as the pink did, unless that was just scratched all together in the mint version of it. But I'm surprised he didn't make a base mint colored skate. That makes sense.
It was close. It was real close.
Maybe in the future.
At the time, there was going to be another skate that was going to drop in a similar colorway that was supposed to drop before the base then. That skate ended up not coming out. It had kind of like a greenish hue to it, kind of like a minty, but a little bit more green. So we tried to stay away from that color just to be different.
Did you see the Seba version of the base them skate? I don't know if it was a Photoshop or what. You had to have seen it.
I did see it.
Do you know what was up with that?
I you know what? I don't. They were in China though. Like I think some guy just customed them.
That good? That looked legit as hell.
Yeah, he did like a really good job. Yeah, no idea, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looked legit. Like somebody really wanted that look so bad, but didn't want to ride them skates that they customized their Sebas to look exactly like the base them skate with the liner, the pink, everything. It was legit. It looked good too, but it was just, it was almost too good to be like handmade or like a custom thing. It looked factory made pretty much.
It did.
I didn't know if I'm sure people send it to you.
Yeah. It was yeah.
Are we good with questions, Billy?
Yeah, we're not taking anymore. We've got all the questions, but Sean, I gotta say thank you once again for joining us. You were on our episode 2 of Jump Street, and now episode 153. It's always great touching base with you. I loved not only like talking about things you were working on, but also talking about your perspective on other projects during this. But as always, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs, things to say?
Shout out to you guys. Always a pleasure just hanging out with you, old friends. So just this ain't nothing new for us. Shout out to Create for sponsoring the episode. Frank, the survey or quiz that we're doing, participate in that. You could end up with a free one. Shout out to John and them skates, everyone part of the team. My brother, obviously. Dead Wheels. They make the best wheels. So, I mean, if you're skating flat and not skating dead wheels, I don't know what you're doing. I'm trying to think of Basement. Yeah, Basement.
What about FR?
Shout out FR. Yeah.
Nick Hartman, shout out.
This 30-year-old T. Oh, I have a question for you guys. What's FR? Is it fuck rollerblade? I never knew what it was.
Well, you can
it's up for interpretation.
It's up for interpretation. I think we asked Ryan Jacklone directly on one of the vintage Jump Street episodes.
Yeah. And
he said he kind of tried to say in the most diplomatic way possible that it initially stemmed from the idea of fuck rollerblade, but then it just became FR. It doesn't mean fuck rollerblade. It means FR, whatever you wanted to believe. But I think the initial came from Nick Hartman saying fuck rollerblade. Excuse my French, by the way. I normally don't curse this much on the show.
Whoa.
But
I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, and then so that's where I think it stemmed from, and then it kind of became the secret hint, and then it developed into other things over the years. As kind of I guess graffiti crews kind of go there'll be 3-letter crew names and it means 8 things. So I think it stemmed from a place, but became something bigger. Was I think my interpretation of Ryan's explanation of that. Would you agree, Austin?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you hit that on the head right there. Anybody who hasn't checked out the Ryan Jackalone episode, check it out. That was one of the questions that we were dying to ask him as well too, because we've been wondering that for 25, 30 years or whatever. But he pretty much said the same thing too. Yeah, it was originally fuck rollerblade, and then it ended up becoming something, and then it just was whatever, because obviously when you were that big of a company, you couldn't just say that your company stands for fuck rollerblade, you know? So yeah, but that's pretty much it though. Well, Sean, you're the man. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, it's always a pleasure to get together. Thank you for Create Originals for sponsoring this episode. Like we said before, enter the giveaway. Go to jumpstreetpodcast.com to enter the quiz, 10-question quiz. Have some fun with it. I also forgot to mention before, because now the inbox is blowing up right now with people already taking the quiz. But even if you don't get 100 on it, you're still entered to win. So no matter what the score is, just have some fun with it. But we will give a special shout out to the people who get a 10 out of 10 on it. So I didn't check yet to see how many people got a perfect score so far, if any. But if they do, we'll give you a special shout out on the next episode when we pick the winner. But thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you on the next episode. Later.
Bye.